Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. This video compresses information gathered from Wikipedia in video format. Studies prove that reading while listening improves comprehension, increases speed as well as expands vocabulary and enhances fluency. Video sections: abstract, plot, production, soundtrack, release, reception, sequel, external links. Give your feedback on the comments section. Support the channel by subscribing and liking the video. Thanks. Abstract. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation is a 2015 American action spy film written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. From a story by McQuarrie and Drew Pearson, the fifth installment in the Mission Impossible film series. The film stars Tom Cruise, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Alec Baldwin, Sean Harris, Ving Rhames, Simon McBurney, and Tom Hollander, with Cruise, Renner, Pegg, and Rhames reprising their roles from previous films. Rogue Nation is produced by Cruise, J. Abrams, and David Ellison of Skydance Productions. In the film, IMF agent Ethan Hunt is on the run from the CIA, following the IMF's dissolution as he tries to prove the existence of the Syndicate, a mysterious international terrorist consortium. This year, filming began on August 21, 2014, in Vienna, Austria, and concluded on March 12, 2015. The film was released in North America by Paramount Pictures on July 31, 2015. It received positive reviews from critics and grossed $682 million worldwide, becoming the 8th highest-grossing film of 2015 as well as the 3rd highest-grossing film starring Cruise. A sequel, Mission Impossible Fallout, was released on July 27, 2018, with McQuarrie returning as writer and director. Plot: after intercepting nerve gas being sold to Chechen terrorists in Minsk, IMF agent Ethan Hunt is determined to prove the existence of the Syndicate, a criminal consortium the CIA does not believe exists. As CIA Director Alan Hunley successfully convinces a Senate committee to disband and absorb the IMF, currently without a secretary in charge, into the CIA for its destructive methods and other misconduct. Hunt is captured by the Syndicate at a record shop in London, while their leader, a blonde man in glasses, kills the female IMF agent stationed there. Hunt escapes a torture chamber led by Syndicate member Janik Bone Dr. Binter with the help of disavowed MI6 agent and now Syndicate operative Ilsa Faust. IMF Field Operations Director William Brandt, knowing Hunley will try to capture Hunt, warns him to stay undercover. Cut off from the IMF, Hunt follows his only lead, the man in glasses, later identified as former MI6 agent Solomon Lane. 6 months later, Hunt, still a fugitive living in Paris, enlists former colleague Benji Dunn to attend the Opera Turandot in the Vienna State Theatre, predicting that an assassination attempt will be made on the Austrian Chancellor at the performance, and that Lane will also be there. The two stop 3 snipers, including Faust, but the Chancellor is ultimately killed by a car bomb, and Lane is still not found. Faust dropped hints of Lane's plan to Hunt before leaving, after learning the Syndicate is working against the old world order by performing several terrorist acts. Dunn stays with Hunt instead of reporting back to the CIA, despite knowing his action amounts to treason. Hunt, blamed for the Chancellor's death, is pursued by the CIA's Special Activities Division. Brandt contacts Luther Stickle to find Hunt before the CIA does. Stickle tracks Hunt, Dunn, and Faust to Casablanca, where they break into and acquire a secret Syndicate file from a secure building. Faust flees with the data, evading both Hunt and Syndicate members. Although Hunt kills the pursuing agents, Dunn reveals he copied the data onto a second USB drive. As Stickle and Brandt catch up to the Monsieur, Faust returns to London and attempts to use the file to quit her mission to infiltrate the Syndicate. But her MI6 handler, Atlee compels her to continue, whilst discreetly wiping her drive. Meanwhile, Hunt learns that the data is an encrypted British government red box that requires the Prime Minister's biometrics to unlock it. They reach London, where Lane's men abduct Dunn, and use Dunn and Faust to blackmail Hunt into decrypting and delivering the data to the Monsieur. Hunt agrees to the ultimatum, despite Brandt's protests. As part of Hunt's plan, Brandt reveals their location to Hunley during a charity auction in Blenheim Palace near Oxford. Hunley, Brandt, and Atlee take the PM to a secure room to protect him from Hunt. Brandt has the PM confirm the existence of the Syndicate, a project proposed by Atlee to perform missions without oversight, effectively making the PM judge, jury and executioner with zero accountability. Before Atlee reveals himself as Hunt in a mask and secures the PM's biometrics, allowing Stickle to decrypt a file. When the real Atlee arrives, Hunt forces him to admit that he began the Syndicate without permission and that he has been covering up its existence after Lane hijacked the project and went rogue, turning the Syndicate against him and MI6. Upon discovering the file contains access to $2.4 billion in various bank accounts, serving as the Syndicate's would-be operating budget, Hunt destroys the data. At the meeting, outside the Tower of London, he tells Lane he memorized the data and offers himself in exchange for Dunn and Faust. Dunn escapes after the bomb on him is disarmed, while Hunt and Faust are chased through the Tower of London complex by Lane's men. Faust kills Vinter in a knife fight, while Hunt confronts Lane and lures him into a sealed, bulletproof glass cell where he is gassed unconscious and taken into custody. Having witnessed an IMF operation's success firsthand, Hunley later returns with Brandt to the Senate committee and convinces them to restore the IMF by covering for Hunt and his team. Monsieur outside after the meeting, Brandt congratulates Hunley, who is now the new IMF secretary. Production. Paramount Pictures announced in August 2013 that Christopher McQuarrie would direct the fifth Mission Impossible film, from a script by Drew Pearce, with Tom Cruise reprising his role as Ethan Hunt. TC Productions and Bad Robot would produce, and Skydance Productions, who served as co-financiers and executive producers of the latest installment, will work closely with the team in the development and production process. On November 14, 2013, Paramount announced a release date of December 25, 2015. The same month, Simon Pegg confirmed he would reprise his role as Benji. In May 2014, Will Staples replaced Pearce as screenwriter. Also that month, Jeremy Renner confirmed he was returning in the role of William Brandt. And Cruise said the film would shoot in London, with a later report saying it would first shoot in Vienna in August at some point. McQuarrie replaced Staples as screenwriter. The final credits list McQuarrie as screenwriter, with story by Pearce. In July 2014, Rebecca Ferguson was cast and Alec Baldwin was in talks for the film. Monsieur Baldwin was confirmed to have joined the cast in August 2014, and Ving Rhames was confirmed to be reprising his role of Luther Stickle. On September 5, it was announced that Sean Harris was in negotiations for the villain role. On October 2, Simon McBurney joined the cast of the film Monsieur. On October 6, Chinese actress Zhang Jingqi joined the film's cast. On March 22, 2015, Paramount revealed the film's official title, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, along with a teaser poster and trailer. Principal photography began in August 2014. On August 21, the production released its first photos from the set in Vienna, Austria. In August, actors Cruise and Pegg, along with director Christopher McQuarrie, were in Vienna, at the Metro and on the rooftop of Vienna State Opera. After finishing 1.5 weeks of filming in Austria, on August 30, Cruise arrived in the Moroccan capital city of Rabat for filming more scenes. Here the Marrakesh highway was closed for 14 days. August 30, September 12. Other filming locations in Morocco include Agadir, Rabat and Casablanca. On September 8 and 9, filming took place in the Marrakesh Stadium, which was closed both days for filming purposes, and Casbah of the Udayas, in Rabat. After more than a month of shooting in Austria and Morocco, filming moved to London on September 28. Filming of an action scene featuring Ethan Hunt climbing and hanging on the outside of a flying Atlas C-1 took place at RAF Wittering near Stamford. Tom Cruise performed the sequence, at times suspended on the aircraft over 5,000 feet, 1,500 meters, in the air, without the use of a stunt double. To pull off this particular stunt, the production team were given a limited period of only 48 hours. The plane took off and landed 8 times before they had a perfect shot. On November 9, filming began on Southampton Water and Fawley Power Station. Tom Cruise trained under diving specialist Kirk Pratt to be able to hold his breath for 3 minutes to perform an underwater sequence which was filmed in a single long take without any edits. However, stunt coordinator Wade Eastwood claims that Cruise held his breath for just over 6 minutes. On February 20, 2015, The Hollywood Reporter said filming was halted to give Macquarie, Cruise, and an unknown third person time to rework the film's ending. Filming ended on March 12, 2015. Soundtrack. The musical score for Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation was composed by Joe Kramer, who previously collaborated with director Macquarie on The Way of the Gun and Jack Reacher. Kramer was announced as the composer for the film in September 2014. The soundtrack was recorded with small orchestral sections at British Grove Studios and with full orchestra at Abbey Road Studios, as well as incorporating Lalo Schifrin's thematic material from the television series throughout the score. 3 tracks interpolate Puccini's Nessun Dorma aria from his opera Turandot, featured in the opera house scene. The physical soundtrack became available from La La Land Records on July 28, 2015, with the digital album released from Paramount Music on the same day. All music is composed by Joe Kramer. Release. Paramount had originally scheduled the film for a December 25, 2015 release. On January 26, 2015, Paramount advanced the release date to July 31, 2015. The main reason cited by The Hollywood Reporter was to avoid competition with 2 other 2015 films, Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Spectre, in the United States and Canada. It was released in the Dolby Vision format in Dolby Cinema, the first ever time for Paramount. On February 13, 2015, Paramount and IMAX Corporation announced that they would digitally remaster the film into the IMAX format and release it in IMAX theaters worldwide on the scheduled date. The film was completed at 2 a.m. on July 18, 2015, less than 2 weeks before its release date. The film was officially released in North America on July 31, 2015. Lotte released the film in South Korea on July 30, 2015. The film was released in China on September 8, 2015. In August 2015, Fox Networks acquired the U.S. cable broadcast rights for broadcast after its theatrical release. The film will be available for FX Networks and its suite of networks, FX, FXX, FXM, and the video-on-demand platform FX Now. A teaser trailer for the film was released on March 22, 2015. The following day, a full-length trailer was released. A second full-length trailer was released on June 3, 2015. Paramount Pictures spent $42 million on advertising for the film this year. A comic book was released in conjunction with the film's DVD, Blu-ray release. It follows Hunt going rogue during the events of the film this year. The comic is written by the film's writer and director Christopher McQuarrie and illustrations by Lazarus artist Owen Freeman. Reception. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation grossed $195 million in the US and Canada, and $487.7 million in other countries, for a worldwide total of $682.7 million. Although Rogue Nation was projected to become the highest-grossing Mission Impossible film and the biggest movie for Cruise, it apparently fell short of eclipsing Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol's final gross to become the third highest-grossing Mission Impossible film and the third biggest film for Cruise. It had a worldwide opening of $121 million and an IMAX worldwide opening total of $12.5 million. The third biggest of July behind The Dark Knight Rises, 2012, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, 2011. Deadline Hollywood calculated the net profit of the film to be $108.9 million. When factoring together all expenses and revenues for the film this year, in the United States and Canada, according to pre-release tracking, the film was projected to earn around $4,050 million in its opening weekend, less than what the first three Mission Impossible films earned in their initial weekend. It made $4 million from its Thursday night showings, which began at 8 p.m. this year from 2,764 theaters, and $20.3 million on its opening day, which is the second biggest opening day for Cruise and the biggest in the Mission Impossible franchise, breaking Mission Impossible 2's record, with 16% of ticket sales from the film's 367 IMAX theaters. In its opening weekend, the film grossed $55.5 million, exceeding expectations, and is the second highest opening in the franchise, behind Mission Impossible 2, $57.8 million, and the third biggest for Cruise behind War of the Worlds, $64.8 million, and Mission Impossible 2. IMAX contributed $8.4 million of the total opening gross from 369 IMAX screens, which is the third best for a July opening after The Dark Knight Rises, $19 million, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, $15.2 million. Premium large format grossed up $2.6 million. 13% of Friday's gross, with Cinemark XD grossing close to $700,000 at 108 screens. It remained at the top spot for the second weekend, earning an estimated $28.5 million, down 48.7%, from 3,988 theaters, 32+ theaters, buoyed by strong word of mouth, rapturous reviews and strong plays at IMAX theaters. Revenues from IMAX also dropped steadily by 39% to $4.3 million in its second weekend. It topped the North American box office for 2 consecutive weekends until surpassed by the music biographical drama Straight Outta Compton in its third weekend. It ended its theatrical run on October 29, 2015, playing in theaters for a total of 91 days, or 13 weeks. Earning a total of $195 million at the North American box office, which is just 28.6% of its total worldwide gross. It is the fourth highest grossing Mission Impossible film behind Mission Impossible Fallout, $220 million, Mission Impossible 2, $215 million, and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, $209 million. Elsewhere, the film opened in 40 overseas markets, including 135 IMAX theaters on July 31, 2015 in big markets such as the United Kingdom, Mexico, and Australia. It grossed $64.5 million in its opening weekend and went No. 1 in 33 markets, and IMAX contributed $4.1 million of its international opening. Revenues from its second weekend increased by 0.5% to $65 million. It added 18 new markets including India, Japan, and Russia, and opened at No. 1 in 17 of the 18 markets, with the exception of Japan, where it was behind Jurassic World. Overall, it opened at No. 1 in 55 of the 63 territories it has been released in, and had the biggest opening weekend ever for the franchise in 46 markets, and Cruise's best opening in 40 markets. It topped the box office outside of North America for 3 consecutive weekends before being overtaken by Paramount's own Terminator Genisys in its 4th weekend, and 4 in total. It had the biggest opening for the franchise in the UK, Ireland and Malta, $8.3 million. France, $7 million. India, $7.5 million. Japan, $6.1 million. Russia and the CIS, $5.3 million. Mexico, $5 million. The Middle East, $4.70, including $2.5 million from UAE alone. Taiwan, $5.1 million. Australia, $3.8 million. Germany, $3.2 million. Brazil, $3.1 million. And Pakistan, $1 million. In South Korea, where the franchise has been a hit, it opened to $16.95 million, 49% above Ghost Protocol, which is the second biggest opening ever for Paramount, behind Transformers: Dark of the Moon, Cruise's biggest ever opening, the best for the Mission Impossible franchise, and the second biggest opening for a Western film of 2015. It added $8.10 and $3.7 million in its second and third weekend, for a total of $41.1 million, making South Korea the film's second highest market, followed by Japan, $41.2 million, the United Kingdom, $32 million, France, $20.9 million, and Germany, $13 million. In Japan, it faced competition with the continued run of Jurassic World. In China, Rogue Nation emerged very successful and earned $18.5 million on its opening day of September 8, including $1.4 million from midnight screenings, which is the country's biggest opening for a Hollywood 2D film, the second biggest for any 2D film in China, and the 5th biggest opening for any film this year, despite opening on a Tuesday, during which most children are off to school. The film opened successfully and almost matched the opening figure of North America. Rob Kane of Forbes cited out possible reasons for the successful opening: the well-establishment of the franchise in China. Its immediate predecessor, Ghost Protocol, earned $102.7 million. Rapid expansion and growth of Chinese movie market. Being the second Hollywood movie, after Terminator Genisys, to be released after the nearly 60-day blackout period in which non-Chinese movies were debarred from going to general release in the country, and the successful awareness campaign and marketing efforts by the team, including Tom Cruise visiting several Chinese cities, it went on to earn an estimated $85.8 million through its opening weekend, Tuesday-Sunday, from 5,500 screens. It is the highest-grossing 2D Hollywood film there, with $136.8 million, breaking Interstellar's record. Rogue Nation was projected to make roughly 70% of its worldwide gross abroad, and indeed ended up making $487,287,762, or 71.4% of its entire worldwide gross overseas, which is the second highest among the series. On the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation has a rating of 93% based on 312 reviews and an average rating of 7.48/10. The website's critical consensus reads: Mission Impossible Rogue Nation continues the franchise's thrilling resurgence and proves that Tom Cruise remains an action star without equal. Metacritic gives the film a score of 75 out of 100 based on 46 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. On CinemaScore, audiences gave the film a grade of A on an A+ to F scale. Ty Burr of the Boston Globe called the film preposterously enjoyable, and said that it unfolds with fluid, twisty, old-school pleasure, highlighting the performances of Cruise, Pegg, Ferguson, and Baldwin, and comparing the action scenes to those of the James Bond films, as well as Alfred Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much, 1956. He ultimately gave the film 3 out of 4 stars. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times gave Rogue Nation 3.5 out of 4 stars, highly praising the film's cast and stating that the film keeps topping itself. However, he criticized the villain for not being too memorable or intimidating. Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times said that McQuarrie's direction allowed Rogue Nation to stand out among the other films in terms of action and its inclusion of female characters, singling out Ferguson's Ilsa as uniquely empowered and action-oriented, also praising her scenes with Cruise. Christopher Orr of The Atlantic praised Cruise, saying, "You overcome the impossible through the application of sheer, unvarnished willpower, a quality that Cruise has always possessed in abundance," and describing him as the driving force of the film and the franchise. He, too, praised Ferguson among the supporting cast for her role as an action heroine. Joseph Wigler of MTV.com considered the movie as one of the most entertaining Ethan Hunt adventures, which proves that the franchise still has plenty of fight left in it, with no signs of slowing down. He praised the performances of Cruise and Ferguson, applauding the latter for playing the most fascinating character in the entire movie, and one of the most complicated and alluring characters in the entire 5-film series. Manohla Dargis of the New York Times stated, "Sleek and bloated, specific and generic, Rogue Nation is pretty much like most of the Impossible movies in that it's an immense machine that Mr. McQuarrie, after tinkering and oiling, has cranked up again and set humming with twists and turns, global trotting and gadgets, a crack supporting cast and a hard-working star." A. Dowd of the AV Club remarked, "Rather than go full auteur on his formulaic material, McQuarrie instead offers a kind of greatest hits package. Rogue Nation marries the shifting loyalties of Brian De Palma's original to the kinetic action beats of John Woo's series Nadir and the all-set-piece structure of Brad Bird's series Zenith, adding an omnipotent villain not far removed from the one Philip Seymour Hoffman played in J.J. Abrams' entry. It's the least visually or conceptually distinctive of the 5 movies, leaning on what's worked before rather than forging its own path." Chris Nashawati of Entertainment Weekly gave the film a B+, calling it breathlessly thrilling, and giving high praise to its action sequences, saying, "All you can do is pick your jaw off your lap and grin at the breathtakingly bananas spectacle you've just witnessed." Meanwhile, David Edelstein of Vulture.com called Ferguson the best reason to see the film this year. However, he felt it did not surpass its predecessor and singled out several elements of some of the action sequences for criticize. Monsieur Joe Morgenstern of the Wall Street Journal also praised Ferguson, felt that she and Cruise had zero chemistry on screen. Nonetheless, he praised the film for working ingenious changes on old tropes. Daniel Krupa of IGN only gave the film a score of 7/10, praising the action sequences and the performances of the central cast but criticizing it for not adding enough to the series or expanding on the plot of Ghost Protocol. Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation was released on Blu-ray and DVD on December 15, 2015 in the United States. A 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray was released on June 26, 2018 along with the first 4 films. Sequel. By May 2015, Paramount was developing a 6th Mission Impossible film, with Cruise, Abrams, Ellison, and Goldberg returning to produce, along with Don Granger and Matt Grimm executive producing, and Elizabeth Raposa overseeing development. Christopher McQuarrie returned to write and direct the film, which began filming April 2017 for a July 2018 release.